We've gone with Dragoncast in honour of our GWA Dragon. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most exciting fitness initiatives in Dubai, the 30-30 Challenge.
Dubai aim to make themselves one of the sporty and most active cities in the world, and 30-30 is part of that. So 30 minutes of exercise a day through the month of November. It's a lot more than just being cardiovascularly fit. It's a level of escapism that gives you for that moment of the day, taking that risk, stepping over the threshold, which in some of our areas is a physical threshold because it's barried off. So step over, step into that environment, don't stand on the sidelines, find a whole new friendship group, a whole new life, and a whole new confidence about school.
30 minutes of daily activity, a great opportunity over the next month to create a habit that can last a lifetime. So whether that's something that you do just create recreationally or in an elite way, it's clear that sport plays a really powerful role here in shaping the next generation and their habits. Hello and welcome. You're listening to the GWA Dragoncast, bringing you a flavour of the voices, the stories and the achievements of our incredible and diverse school community. And a reminder that this podcast is about 25 minutes long. It's designed to last the length of a Dubai car journey. And thank you to all of those that suggested new names. We've gone with Dragoncast in honour of our GWA Dragon. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most exciting fitness initiatives in Dubai, the 30-30 Challenge that begins next week on the 1st of November. I'm joined by Mr. George Coogan, our Director of Sport at GWA. He's going to talk a little bit about how the school is involved, why it matters, and a bit more generally about the impact of sport on young people. So, George, welcome to the Dragoncast.
Thank you very much, Mr. Heath.
Perhaps you could say a little bit about yourself and your role here at GWA.
Okay, thank you. So my name's Mr. George Coogan. I'm the Director of Sport and PE at Gems World Academy. I work cross sites, looking at all the sports initiatives we can run, both intracurricular and co-curricular. That starts in nursery, where we have a couple of lessons a week, pushing all the way through the PYP curriculum into MYP, and then across to the senior site. We go a lot more scientific when we move into the classroom and we look at all things that are sports science. And that MYP, the upper MYP e-portfolio, prepares our students for the diploma program, moving into sports science at diploma level, where they have 2 years of study looking at biomechanics, physiology and anatomy, preparing them for a life in sports science and beyond. Fantastic.
And people who don't know, I'm new to the country. Tell me a little bit about the 30-30 Challenge. What is it?
Okay, so the 30-30 is an initiative that's specific and unique to Dubai. Dubai aim to make themselves one of the sporty and most active cities in the world, and 30-30 is part of that. So 30 minutes of exercise a day through the month of November. There's multiple sites externally that provide free activity, from Kite Beach to Sheikh Zayed Road being completely shut down for some of the marquee events. You can go and run down the Sheikh Zayed Road and cycle down the Sheikh Zayed Road on various different Saturdays. You can head up to Hatta and do paddling in the lake. All these activities are free. And then as a school, we're supposed to be reflecting what Dubai are doing. And we're a microcosm, I suppose, of that energy during the month of 30-30. So we run our own smaller events.
Okay, so tell me about some of the events or themes and things we've got planned as a school.
Okay, so Monday is handed over to Mindful Mondays, and it's all about getting to know yourself, being more centered. So on a Monday, you might be doing activities such as colouring, such as meditation, yoga, activities that really allow yourself to centre yourself after a busy weekend and get yourself prepared. Tuesdays are all about track. So we go out on a track and we do different wake up, shake up activities on the track. You might be running or walking or jogging. Wednesdays is a Wake and Shake Wednesday, where this year we'll be joined by a dance academy at the junior school. We'll have something similar at the senior school, where you get an opportunity to move and dance and wake yourself up in that way. Thursdays is our Team Sport Thursdays, where we get lots of different activities going. You might be going to play some football, some handball, some bench ball, etc. And then Fridays is our Fitness Friday, where it's very much fitness based. How many press up, sit ups, etc. can you do in a certain amount of time? Yeah. And that's echoed extracurricularly and in-curricularly during our lessons.
And how do you aim to engage? I mean, you're trying to engage as many students as possible, staff and parents as well?
Yeah, so we have morning in the junior school. We run morning drop-off sessions because of the nature of the drop-off at that part of the day. So we have parents that enter the school building, and we try and engage as many of them as possible, especially in our Wednesday wake-ups and our track sessions. At the senior school, we'll move to kind of a lunchtime-based activity because our senior students are slightly more sedentary in the morning when they enter the building.
I've seen them. Yeah.
So we run lunchtime activities and lunchtime clubs, etc. During that school day.
It's obviously more than just fitness. I mean, how do you see this this challenge in terms of what it does for student well-being and broader motivation?
So for us, it's a lot more than just being cardiovascularly fit. It's a level of escapism that gives you for that moment of the day, and the good endorphins that it gives you. So if you're taking part in an activity that is outside of your normal realm, whether that's you stretching yourself to be a risk taker, taking a challenge, you're forgetting about the everyday stresses of the school day or of life. And in that moment, you can find a really cathartic time to feel that positive energy.
And in your role, have you seen longer term benefits from those students that have taken part in the 30-30 challenge?
Yeah, well, it breaks down barriers, both to entering activity and also breaks down barriers within friendships. You can see students looking at other students thinking, oh, actually, that person's in my grade. I quite like doing that activity with that student. I quite like that level of engagement that I had with that particular student. And you can see people forging new friendships there for sure. But just stepping over that threshold into an activity that maybe you wouldn't have done before opens up all sorts of avenues for you.
So any advice you'd give someone who's not done this before, first time, any advice that you'd give them as a veteran?
Really, it's that risk-taking attitude that we like to see. So trying something new, whether it's a dance activity on a Wednesday or a fitness challenge on a Friday, or if you're not really into arts and yogas and meditation or you haven't done it before, really giving it a go and taking that risk, stepping over the threshold, which in some of our areas is a physical threshold because it's barriered off. So step into that environment, don't stand on the sidelines. And if you do for the first week, make sure you don't for the second week. Bring mum and dad with you if you need to, especially if you're at the primary school, and take that risk.
So for people that want to find out more, how do they do that? Just the school, but also the wider events? Cycling up the Sheikh Zayed Road sounds like a great thing to do.
Yeah, there's a really nice platform. So Dubai 3030, if you search that up online, you can look at all the wider Dubai-based activities. They're free to enter, so make sure you do enter them. And once you have entered, you can go and sign up for these free activities. The activities that we run in school would be well publicised through your Google Classrooms. That's on tutor slides, and also via the PE department, and probably by your grade leaders as well. We have these huge screens up and around the school. Next week, they will start to display what activities we got on a daily basis. It isn't just a reserve of the physical education department. There'll be lots of different activities running all around the school. So just make sure you get engaged into some of them.
That sounds really fantastic. So let's talk a bit more about kind of the role of sport in GWA in general. What life skills do you think that sport provides that maybe young people don't get in the classroom?
There's a real level of resilience that sport can give you. And sport becomes a kind of a copy or a microcosm of society. And it becomes a real fierce boiling pot at times, which can magnify some of those emotions. And if you can adapt yourself to an environment which has magnified some of the stresses that are outside of the sporting world and sporting environment, if you can deal with those under that pressure, then you provide yourself or set yourself up in a brilliant way to deal with those things outside of the sporting arena. So if you're a couple of points down in a game, or you're being beaten well in a game, and you can adapt to that environment, and you can think to yourself, how can I change? What can I do? How can I push forward? And you can take those skills outside of the sporting world and apply them to being asked to do a podcast, for example.
So resilience required.
100%. This is a completely new environment for me, because I've been in lots of environments where you feel nervous, you feel anxious, you feel a bit scared. Then when new environments enter your scope, then you feel like you're semi-equipped, if not equipped to do the podcast, you're semi-equipped with some of the life skills that are needed for these particular environments.
Yeah.
And outside of that, you've got all the holistic stuff. So friendships, building friendships with people that you wouldn't usually, because they're not maybe in your friendship group, or maybe they dress a bit different, or they're from a different culture or background. Sport's a brilliant boiling pot for that, and it can break down lots of barriers. You have to communicate with other people, and you have to find a way to communicate with people that might necessarily not be your friends, which again equips you with brilliant life skills. Having a winning mentality is not always a be all and end all, but is definitely a real positive thing to have. To want to win and strive to succeed in different areas is really positive. So there's huge positives to take out of the co-curricular sporting program.
And I think I remember when I did sport many years ago, just that value of practice, of actually learning a skill over time and realizing that something that you couldn't do, you could do. And if you can do that on the cricket pitch or on the football field, you can do that in a chemistry lesson or in a history lesson. It's the same kind of process, isn't it, of learning about yourself.
Learning to learn is really important.
Yeah.
And there's lots of different avenues to learn, but learning to learn really comes into its own when you have a passion for something. Because if you have a passion for something, you're going to do it again and again and again and again. And gaining a mastery over an element, or whether that's sport, arts, music, drama, anything that's considered maybe not strictly academic, gaining that mastery and then applying those skills that you've learned in that environment to an academic environment is really important and super powerful.
And can you think of examples where students have gained in confidence or been able to sort of come out of their shell a bit more, or overcome challenges in the rest of their life through sport?
Yeah, certainly. Yesterday we were at the PYP swim gala. We headed over to WSO at GEMS, and there's students that have never swum before, have never swum at a gala, have never swum before in front of a crowd, and you can see the anxiety, you can still see the nervousness. The elation when they got to the other end of the pool and they'd be running down with their friends is completely and utterly evident. The difference between the bus journey there and the bus journey back was totally different, and you could feel it. The level of nervousness and insularness that we had on the way there was completely and utterly removed, barriers removed, people joyous and happy, and those good endorphins that you get from taking part in activity. And our sports scientists will know what those endorphins are called and what that means, the level of serotonin that gets released at that point. You can't get it from anywhere else. It becomes addictive.
Let's talk a little bit about competition. What do you see as the role of competitive sports within a school like ours?
Okay, so we're very much two-tier approach. We run A teams and B teams. Our A teams enter slightly more competitive setups, where winning is slightly more emphasized. And then we have B teams that is all about participation. We very much play a half in our B team. So if your son or daughter's picked for a B team event, then you should expect to at least have half of a game, regardless of win, lose, draw. Because I think that whole process of turning up to a fixture, putting on a school kit, representing your school team, being part of that tribe, that club, that community is really important. And you won't get to embrace that unless you're playing. Now, the outcome of those games are very much not to win. Then we have the slightly more competitive teams, which are our A teams. We turn up with slightly smaller numbers, so we have slightly less players to rotate. Players are communicated with. The communication happens with players and parents at home that, look, this is a particular game, particular fixture. We'd really like you to be there, but maybe you're not going to be playing as much of a role as potentially you would in a B team. Those moments are really your moment to shine and to put your absolute best foot forward. We don't get many of those moments at school. And if you really enjoy that moment and you really enjoyed what that felt like, then maybe outside of school, the club that you play with the best 2 or 3 players from the next school is the environment that you need to be in.
To go that one step further. So Correct. In terms of those athletes that might want to pursue sport at a higher level, how do we support those as a school?
So we have lots of partners that we use, both part of the ESM network. For example, the Hamilton Swim Academy will use lots of swimmers from the Hamilton in our squads to represent the school, and they do so fantastically. And then they go and train and compete for Hamilton outside of school. The same with the AIS athletics program. We have lots of fantastic athletes that will train and play with us a couple of times a week, and they'll go and supplement that with a few more sessions with the AIS outside of school. We have football partners that do the same and basketball partners that do the same. We're looking to provide an environment that allows all students to come and have a taste of sport, break that barrier, enter an environment that they now feel comfortable and happy enough to go and really see if they can step it up to the next level, which is what our satellite clubs that we can push you into, or we can give you information about provide.
And elite sport these days, it's a big business. To be successful at that level takes huge dedication from a very young age. How do you balance that with the demands of the academic curriculum, but also young people's kind of more general well-being?
Yeah, so some of the sports you'll be, when I spoke to we have an elite sports program to start off with, an elite sports program that has 3 tiers. The top tier of entry is you have to represent or be competing at an international standard. Now that isn't traveling to another country to compete with your club against another club. That is you're competing for your country, or you're competing in an international competition that's the best against the best, for example, an athletics competition. For those students, we've got around 30 of those at the school. We run an elite sports program, which is kind of like a vertical tutor environment, that you have a tutor teacher, Mr. Downham, that takes over some of those stresses, so that they can talk about travel, transport, what your sleep patterns should look like, what diet and nutrition should be looking at certain stages, what your fitness component should look like. So at James World Academy, we're very lucky to have that program. Outside of that, we've got tier 2, which are aspirational athletes to get onto that program, that will be invited along to seminars, will be invited along to talks and speeches that we have by influential people outside. And then tier 1 get a similar level, it's just slightly more scaffolded, diluted.
And are there any success stories or alumni that you particularly remember in terms of the way they developed at school?
Yes, I think it'd be wrong to highlight maybe just individuals, but at the end of every sports award, we have some unbelievable stories that focus on everything from skiing, and we're in Dubai at the moment, so everything from skiing to swim to athletics. We've got some fantastic footballers that have been through the program. I'm not gonna take your bait and name anyone in particular. But yeah, that especially, we've got that elite sports program that are fantastic, and then we've got some real lovely stories about students that either haven't never taken part in a particular sport or activity before, and sign up for one of our B teams and become just absolutely engrossed with it, find a whole new friendship group, a whole new life, and a whole new confidence about school. And then we've got the top end who are dedicated, the elite of the elite. I was speaking to one of the swimmers last year. She's swimming 65 kilometers a week plus in preparation to try and be one of the best swimmers in the world. So we really have got a breadth here.
And as you said, even though in those B teams, it's about kind of finding your tribe, finding those people, finding that kind of enjoyment in sport that could last for a lifetime, even if it never goes anywhere in terms of high level.
Yes, yeah. I'm one of those people, Heath. I turn up to triathlons multiple times a year. I was swimming in a 2.5 kilometer swim race at Almanza Beach at the weekend, and I was well and truly beaten by about 30 other competitors, and I took just as much joy as that to when I was a very good rugby player and was trying to be the best version of myself, because I was trying to be the best version of myself.
I think that's what it's about, isn't it? Trying to be the best version of yourself.
Correct.
And that best version might not be elite, but actually in terms of enjoyment and the way you can develop as an individual, it's a fantastic thing to do. I mean, my efforts didn't go very far in terms of professional sport. So maybe one final question. If there's one message you want young people and their parents to hear about sport at GWA, what would that be?
It's not exclusive. We're completely and utterly inclusive. There is an exclusive tip to the end of the arrow, but the pyramid is so wide, so broad. Please just come and give it a try. And it can be daunting the first time you turn up to a session. It can be scary, with the support of parents, of teachers, we need to get children active. The rate of child obesity is huge, and anything we can do to get children more active, and we probably finish where we started with the 30-30 initiative next month. Anything that we can do to make sure we engage in children and making sure their heart rates are raised for 4 or 5 times a week for 20 minutes, any activity they do is going to be really beneficial. So please reach out to us or to me directly if you feel like you need a little bit of help, a little bit of support. You need to get your son or daughter off the sofa, off the bed,
off the PlayStation,
and into some sort of activity. I'd really love to help.
Well, thanks, George. That's been really, really interesting. 30 minutes of daily activity, a great opportunity over the next month to create a habit that can last a lifetime. So whether that's something that you do just recreationally or in an elite way, it's clear that sport plays a really powerful role here in shaping the next generation and their habits. So thanks again for sharing your insights today, and good luck with the 30-30 challenge.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll see you out there, Heath.
I'm sure you will.
I think you said you wanted to be involved in the Fitness Fridays and a Wednesday dancing wake up. Is that correct?
Fitness Fridays, maybe. Dancing, you do not want to see, and nor does anyone else. So maybe give that one a miss. But yeah, I'm very happy to be involved. And yeah, I think it's a powerful message that we share with young people, that everyone can be involved in sport and take benefit from that. So
thank you very much.
Thanks again, and good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.